welcome to the Chronicles. I'm Devin Jordan. I'm with Trace Armstrong and Rob McIntyre. We're here to talk about the Challenge Double Agents, episode 17, which just aired. So off the bat, we just want to say thank you for everyone that has supported us on Patreon so far. I mean, I think it's been a complete shock to all of us on how much traction that we've gotten within the first few weeks. Honestly, like way above and beyond any of our expectations. Really, like you guys have no idea how much we appreciate it. And like I've told some people just through messaging, the real reason why we want to be able to, I guess, kind of do this is put some of the money back into the product, right? And continue to make a better product. And I mean, I'm already doing it now. I bought a light so my video isn't complete dog shit for the people that are like paying for the video. So like we're gonna keep making this better. It's gonna keep turning into a better product. And I say that as Trace's video is completely freezing up, but he has an excuse because of the
that's extraneous issues.
Yeah. So before David
put money into a new internet cord for Trace,
the dedication to this show is for real from all of us. The guys that cut my grass cut my internet connection, so I have zero internet here at the house, and I had no cable TV either, so I had no way to watch the show. I found a service called Philo PH, whatever it is. And I was able to sign up for a trial because it had a cloud DVR. I was able to DVR the show, watch it when I got home on my phone. Now I am recording on a hotspot. And because we have semi-decent software that we use, even though it's fuzzy to them, when we upload it, it's going to be great. So I moved a lot of mountains to get here tonight. Yeah, fingers crossed. But I moved a lot of mountains to get in here tonight because I didn't want to miss this. So thank you all for the support. And we want to, like Devin said, put the money back in the show, invest in video, lighting, some backdrops, stuff like that. So on the way.
Yeah. So this is for all of the episodes from here on out. They're brought to you by our Patreon followers. And we wanted to shout out in this episode, Tess and Lewis Brown, members of the Interconsulate. Thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate it. For everyone that's on the fence about joining Patreon, and I guess the big selling point of why you would want to join our Patreon right now is to be able to get our All-Stars recaps, which we're only doing for Patreon members right now. We're going to record those Thursday mornings and pretty much release them right away. This week's a little bit different. We've had some scheduling conflicts, so that episode will go out Thursday night, tomorrow night. Normally, we're going to try and get those to you as fast as possible. If you're on the fence about joining, just fucking do it. It's $4. You get the All-Stars recaps. The Duel 2, the first part of the Duel 2 is available right now to Patreon members. So if you're into our historical recaps, you can go and listen to that right now. The Discord server, I will say, is quite fun. I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I had. We definitely some good conversation. All the people that are currently signed up for Patreon and haven't joined the Discord server yet, let me know if you have any trouble joining. Feel free to come in and hang out. But yeah, if you're on the fence, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And if we can get 50 new subscribers by this time next week, Rob will sing the Star Spangled Banner live.
Is that the Star?
No. We should have him wear the Tiger King outfit. That's what we need.
Oh, see, I'm thinking Star Spangled Banner like in Captain America: The First Avenger when he's got like the weird Captain America costume on and there's all the women who are dancing around him. That I would do that. I'd be in on that.
What happens?
Have you seen that movie?
No.
Yeah,
it's like a lower.
I know what you're talking about, but you know what, Rob? That means we would have to get your fan that emailed us the FMK, and you were every answer in that email to be your backdrop.
We would need like 35 more people that follow her train of thought to fill out that scene, unfortunately.
So 50 additional followers or Patreon subscribers by this time next week. Rob will sing the Star Spangled Banner dressed up as the Tiger King. So I'll just put that out there. All right. So let's talk about episode 17, huge improvement from last week.
I thought this was
right?
the best episode of the season.
It almost was.
Probably. I'd have to think about it a little bit. This one.
To me, it's this one, or it's the episode that Teresa and Jay win the mission, and then Teresa's like going all crazy and gets Ashley thrown in. It was between those two. I would lean this one right now, though.
Interesting.
Phenomenal episode. So, where do we want to start off with this?
I guess if we just want to just go off the top with the mission, I thought they did a good job of keeping it pretty short, but still very interesting, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it goes along with everything that we've always thought about missions. Like everyone just go at once. The missions where there are kind of mini finals, and TJ even I think called that at one point in the episode. Those seem to be the most entertaining, or some of the most entertaining.
5 mile run's no joke.
No, it was a 10-mile run because it was 5. Wasn't it 5 there to the frozen?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, like a 5 mile there and a 5 mile back. That's no joke. I mean, like that's definitely way longer than a lot of the finals we've covered so far for these historical seasons.
It makes you wonder if they made Fessy run it or if they sent an ATV out there.
Dude, I wouldn't have wanted to complete it. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But I was definitely very impressed with Cam in this episode. I've definitely been very critical of her at certain points in time. I think she was by far the all-star at that mission. She crushed the run, and it looked like she was outrunning Corey at the end, and Corey hadn't already ran 5 miles before the volcano, too. And then when Corey tried to jump in to help solve the puzzle, she's pretty much like, get out of here.
I really enjoyed when TJ was like asking who they wanted to send. They all sent the guys, but then like Cam was telling Corey like, you're strong, you're fast, you're smart. It's like, all right, he might be 2 of those 3 things. That third one is like maybe relative to the rest of these jabronis, he's smart, but I don't know about like in general.
Hasn't it come up multiple times in the last few episodes that Corey has a photographic memory? Or am I just imagining that? Haven't I heard that?
It came up this time. I don't remember it coming up in other times, but like, how many people claim to have a photographic memory? Like, I don't have one, so it's hard for me to envision what, like, I mean, I honestly do have an exceptionally good memory. It's one of the things that I do well. But a photographic memory to me is like something different. I just can't even envision what that means.
What does that mean? I feel like I looked this up at one point, and it's not what it sounds like. It's somewhat of a misnomer. I don't think it literally means that you can remember everything exactly as it appears. Like it's something slightly different.
Because people really talk about it like it's like, okay, the thing I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. Like if you're looking at something right now, all you have to do is look at it once and you've got it.
Yeah, and it's like I could look at this right now, and then going back in my memory, I would know like, okay, my Xbox is over there, my Blu-ray discs are right there, and like they're laid out in this certain fashion. Like that's what that's saying. And like again, I would say my memory is like relative. I'm really good at remembering something in relation to something else, but it's not like at least what I would envision that is.
What do you think about the decision? So it looked like Cam was very well aware that this may have been a mission where they were going to have to go out and dig them up, right? So if what do we think about their decision under the pretense that they're aware that this is a possibility, right?
My strategy would 1,000% be just do what the other teams aren't doing. Because if you're looking at what you're trying to do, you're trying to increase your odds, right? And if we switch it up and the mission works out where it's better to have sent the girl instead of sending the guy, and I have kept the guy, I'm not the only team that's done that, and now I have a good chance to win the mission that I wouldn't have had a good chance to win before, whereas in the other way, I probably wasn't going to win anyways. And then the same thing in reverse, where if it would have been better to send the girl and keep the guy, like that's how I would have played it. Once I saw everybody was sending the guy, I would have said, look, let's play the odds here. We'll send you, I'll hang back, and then maybe we get lucky and it works out and more in our favor that way.
Yeah, I completely agree. I definitely think that's the right way to go.
Yeah, it's interesting. Were there any of these teams where you would have thought that the guy would have been better at solving puzzles than the girl?
Fessy?
Maybe, yeah, Fessy and Amber B.
I mean, yeah, she didn't put up a great shot on that one.
I was going to bring this up, and I think I know the answer. Like, we've seen, like, some evidence, even though it may be almost absolutely like non-existent, that he's okay at puzzles, right? I think we've talked about this before.
He's okay. We don't know how
the
good he
Total
is, but
Madness
he's not
final,
horrible.
he was able to do them eventually.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah,
horrible.
like
Like
I think
that's the
we.
thing.
Yeah.
I think, well, I mean, the barrier for male competitors and their puzzle capabilities on the challenge is very, very low. Like, it does not take much to be above average. So I think, like, especially with CT standing out, if it did come down to the guys, like, he'd probably be my pick of these four. He'd honestly have to be my pick of these four guys for completing a puzzle, right? Like, he's better than Leroy, Kyle, and Corey.
CT, yeah, by far.
No,
Like,
Fessy, I'm saying.
Oh, you think he's better out of the people in the mission? Yeah, for sure. Kyle's terrible. Corey's terrible. Is Leroy awful? What did you just say?
Leroy's not good at puzzles.
Leroy, I can't remember. Like, I remember a lot of instances of Leroy being bad at puzzles. I don't remember very many of him being good. And then you'd think with some veteran savvy, maybe he's not like an abject disaster. But like all three of those guys have been on a lot of shows now. So
all right, we're burying the lead here. Let's talk about Cam and Leroy.
There's two big pivot points in this episode, with Cam and Leroy, Kyle, and then Fessy throwing himself.
We can go back to the mission. Let's talk about Cam and Leroy pretty much backstabbing Kyle here. So
backstabbing Kyle, not pretty much backstabbing.
I felt pretty bad.
That wasn't a backstab. They just stabbed him right in the front. Just right in the front.
No, they did tell him. It wasn't like they just told him he was getting thrown in. I mean, like, if this is Leroy's last shot, I mean, if you think it's a good play by him, like, because I think if Corey goes down and Corey loses to Fessy takes Casey, Leroy can at least take Cam. Then you think he'd prefer to run with Cam over Nani?
Yeah, and you are of the belief that you think that Corey's a better competitor in a final than Kyle, don't you?
I would say he's a better competitor than final. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, even though I may not be of that opinion, that would be a reason that you would say that he may have wanted to throw Corey in.
Yeah, I don't think it's drastic, but I would say Corey. I would put Corey over Kyle in the final.
That's when the episode really heated up. The episode really heated up. Well, I don't know. It may have heated up earlier. There was after the mission, there was kind of that general tension about what was going to happen if Fessy was going to throw himself in or not, right? Yeah. There was some suspense there, but then the heat really turned up when it was the conversation between CT, Nani, and Leroy were like, why don't we just get Kyle over here? And it seemed like Leroy was the one that came up with it. Why don't we just get Kyle to vote for Fessy? And then we have, and under the pretense that Cam will then force them to like make a tie and TJ make a Johnny Mosley judgment call here about what to do. That was probably the high point of the episode, I think.
The thing is, if that, like you were saying, you felt bad for Kyle. Can you imagine if they did that to Corey? Like that would be like an all-time backstab.
Well, he's
like that would have
kids, so
either way,
But like, I mean, that's like outside of stealing your money in the final, I think that's like about it. If that happened, that would be an absolute insanity.
Either way, someone's gonna walk away from that feeling hurt. You know what I mean? They had already made too many relationships that were going to put them in a bad position, regardless of what happened.
It's funny because that and then Fessy deciding to throw himself in, those two did really end up like kind of working in conflict. Because if they ended up needing Kyle's vote to put Fessy in, do you think that changes what Cam ends up doing or no?
Yeah, I think it does.
You think it does? Do you think she puts Corey in?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
For whatever, and I'm not saying that that's the right decision. I think that for them, it does though. So Fessy decides to put himself in voluntarily. They don't actually need Kyle's vote to put in Fessy. And that's kind of when Leroy and Cam are in a room talking about how Corey had been lobbying for Leroy and like trying to like save his position in the game.
Yeah, they hadn't like explicitly been working together, but if you go back and look at it, they've voted together pretty much every time. What would you have done? It also
seems like Corey was who helped put Fessy over the top of actually putting himself in. Like it seemed like they had like an hour-long conversation.
And
It
Corey
seems
like the mind warps these past 2 seasons. Mind warping Nelson to go in for him. Remember when he mind warped Amber M to put herself in so could be the rogue agent again?
yeah.
And
So
then now getting Fessy to put himself in. I mean, that ended up saving him, really.
we don't know how much that conversation changed Fessy's mind.
Well,
The way
I don't know. I will listen to the after show, and Corey was on it, Fessy was on it, Kyle was like those relevant players were on it, and Corey and Fessy both said that the what changed Fessy's mind was they went back to Corey's room, and they were
it
like
was that
rolling dice.
conversation.
Well, yeah, they had a conversation. They were like rolling dice, and Corey rolled the dice, and like it came up doubles, like it was like 2 5s, and then Fessy rolled the dice, and it came up 2 2s. And Corey's like, "Dude, this is fate. You have to go into elimination." And Fessy's like, "All right, I guess this is fate. I have to go into elimination," which is like,
I mean,
should
stupid
be.
stuff like that like makes a difference for people sometimes. So
Yeah, it's just weird because it's all It's all about your headspace. So like, if you can just get someone in that headspace, that's what you have to do.
So let's think about this though. Like, what is the objective right move here for Leroy, right? For Leroy and Cam. So I think it really just comes down to who you think is the better competitor in the final, right?
I don't think it
better?
is. I think he needs to put Corey in because then he can take Cam. Because I think Cam is much better in the final than Tony.
All right, yeah. So that's part of it too. Yeah. So he gets Cam as a partner, and he gets what some people would be the better competitor out of the game. So he has less competition in the final, and he has a better partner.
I think
Right?
that's objectively, like, if you're just optimizing your chances to win, that's his best move. Because I saw like some people were saying he should put himself in. I don't know about that.
Because now you gave one of your biggest opponents, one of your strongest competitors, a better partner.
Well,
right?
we'll talk about that later. They're not winning, but that's
so.
a different.
Who would Fessy have had in that scenario? Then he still would have gotten Casey regardless.
He could take Casey in any situation where she was like where he's still around, because if Casey didn't win the mission, he can't like protect her anyway. The only way he can protect her is by Fessy losing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think regardless. Yeah, I think regardless, Fessy gets Casey. However this shook out, as long as Fessy wins, he's taking Casey. So I feel like that's a moot point at this juncture.
I think the right move is to. I mean, we don't even know if he could have forced Corey in. We don't know what it comes down to if Cam and Corey split the vote. But if that's the situation, I definitely think that's the right play.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's like almost the best episode of the season, because if that blindside had actually played out the way Leroy pitched it, where they blindside Fessy and then blindside Corey, that's like a Tony Vlachos pitching a perfect game episode. Like, that would have been like, Leroy, that is your best moment ever in the history of the show. You are a god. You have hung around Johnny Bananas way too long to come up with that scheme.
Like, if that actually happened, this is like top 20 episode of all time.
Oh yeah, I'd be sitting here bouncing.
And Cam is like,
and then not only that, you think about what that sets up, because then it's Corey versus Fessy and Hall Brawl, with Corey trying to avenge Nelson's demise from earlier on in the season.
I think Corey gets wasted too, though.
Oh, I think Fessy wins.
It's borderline unfair to have a D1 football player in Hall Brawl. Like, I mean, that's the game, but my gosh, if Fessy's in Hall Brawl, Fessy's winning.
Like, my thing is, when they do that, what happens if it's like Big T versus Laurel in Hall Brawl?
They play it, dude. Like, so I was thinking that's pretty much what tonight was, like, for all intents and purposes. Not to the same degree.
Small dude, like, Kyle's big.
No, but Fessy's just huge, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, dude, when I heard that this was a best of 5, I was like, that is fucked up. Like, dude, that is so messed up.
And they were talking with us on the after show. Usually with the Hall Brawl, it's a pretty like tight wind. Fessy was saying they were like 20 yards apart. There's so much running room.
Dude, so what did Kyle say about how he felt after he got hit that first time? Did he say that he was delirious?
He said he felt horrible, and then his finger was just like, he was more talking about the finger, and that apparently I did notice that, because when he's been on after shows throughout the season, he's had a cast on his hand. I was wondering if that was going to come into play.
Dude, he got jacked up on that hit. That's one of the hardest hits that that might be the hardest hit we've ever seen in Hall Brawl. Right?
Yeah, we'd have to look at it. Laurel and Nisa is a pretty big collision. Big Easy West is another one that's a pretty big collision.
Oh yeah, that's a rough one too.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
That might be it. It's one of those two though.
I mean, it's funny. Jenny has two. One where she was on the receiving end, and one where she was creating the impact, right? Because she had the one where she got rocked by Tori, and then rocking D the next season.
Yeah, you're right. Both of those are really good.
Yeah,
she destroyed D. Anytime that someone is like getting pushed out the other end, the thing with the one tonight is
the Fessy one too. He just walks to the bell, like he just he
that's the thing.
Over and just like Allen Iverson just literally trots his way to the bell.
He didn't even have to push him out the other side. Kyle was pretty much just like collapsed on the ground.
I mean, what was he supposed to do?
If they did that 5 times,
he got absolutely like lit up in Fessy.
You've got
the
to try
that
the
Fessy hit was so
the
hard.
West plan. Like you got to just dive at their ankles, right? You just got to chop block
for sure. I'm going for like his like ankles, dude. Like
I'm diving head first. You have to. That's your only play. You have to dive head first through his ankles. That's what you have to try to do.
Like you're gonna try and like chest this guy up. Like what the fuck is he thinking, dude? He tried to go like straight into him. There was no attempt to go like super low. He literally just tried to like go like shoulder.
I think he missed time. I know. See, I don't know if that's what it was. I think he mistimed it. I think he wasn't expecting Fessy to be as fast as he was. So he thought he'd have more time to dive at his legs. But as he was starting to dive, he was like, "Oh, he's right there." Like it's like when you're like breaking the car, you're just too close.
Did he say that on the podcast, or is that just kind of what you think?
No, he didn't say that on the after show. That's just that's from what I saw and what it looked like. They didn't mention how fast Fessy came out of it though.
Where do they do the after show?
Oh, they're just at their house. Like they're just zooming.
It's on MTV though.
It's zooming.
No, it's just on their YouTube channel. They're good. Devin's a great host compared to some of the jabronis they've had hosting before. It's clearly not as funny as when Mosley was hosting it, but nothing can replicate that comedy. And I don't think they, considering liability reasons, I don't think they want to replicate that comedy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, thank God we got this episode.
Yeah, thank goodness we got this episode for real. To touch up on what Rob said, though, I actually really agree with him. The way that Kyle, like, Fessy was over halfway through the hall when he hit Kyle. And I agree. It looked like Kyle was getting ready to get as low as possible, but Fessy was on top of him before he got down. So it was kind of like the way that Kyle, he kind of put his hands up, and I think his finger took the brunt of Fessy's charge as he came through. It wasn't something like Fessy stepped on his finger, like it jammed and broke.
So I guess two things. One, if they do that 5 times, I don't know if Kyle's alive right now. 2, the only time that we've ever seen a smaller competitor come close to winning is CJ versus Zach, right? That's the only time we've ever seen it.
Oh.
I think
outside of that, it's always the larger competitor wins.
Well, what about Tori Jenny? I mean, they're pretty much the same size, right?
I think Jenny's a tiny bit bigger.
I think we have them.
Yeah, that would be close. Yeah, man. Like, that's just kind of what... I mean, Nelson got the push on Rogan by a decent amount. He just tripped one time and didn't run to the bell early enough the other time.
And Rogan won both of those, right?
Rogan won both rounds, yeah. Trying to think how often we've seen it. I feel like there have been less Hall Brawls than people remember because they didn't start till bad of the seasons.
Yeah, that was the first one
this season.
Yeah, well, what's crazy too is Fessy and Amber B have been in all of them, or Fessy or Amber B have been in all of them.
I'm pretty against the producers deciding to go with best of 5 here. Like, I mean, I think it should be best of 3. I think it should be best of 3 or best of 1. That took probably like a year or 2 off of his life. Like he got just lit up.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, aren't Oklahoma drills like not supposed to happen anymore?
They shouldn't. I don't know.
I mean, that's what like professional
do.
Football players, and I'm sure when coaches are doing that, they're not putting like the slot receiver up against the defensive tackle.
Yeah, no,
All
they
right.
usually try to do even matchups on those, but I have heard of high schools around here still doing the Oklahoma drill.
Wow.
Is this Kyle's most entertaining season? He was
That's
he
a
was
good
incredible
question.
this season.
He's
He
been
was
really good
incredible.
this season. He's really. I mean, I'm trying to think of what seasons I haven't enjoyed him. War of the Worlds 2, he just didn't do a lot. Last season, he really didn't do a lot either. Like,
No
really,
one did a
like,
lot last season though.
Mm-mm.
I mean, like, there were some people who were around, but like, he really didn't have any storyline at all most of last season. War of the Worlds, I would say this one or War of the Worlds 1 would be the two.
How funny was it when it was that initial moment when the four came together to vote against Fessy between Leroy, Nani, CT, and Kyle when they hashed the plan to go vote in Fessy, and Kyle gets up to shake CT's hands, and they just look at each other and start laughing because of how many times CT has already backstabbed Kyle this season, and he's going to the well one more time.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Kyle had to know it was coming though. As soon as Fessy threw himself in, he should have known that they weren't going to keep that.
I think
deal.
that was also
like,
kind of his only play. Like, what else was he going to do? I mean, I guess you vote in Leroy, then you have a better shot in the elimination because it ends up being Hall Brawl. But I still think Leroy beats him, right?
Leroy versus
I don't know. Kyle's bigger,
Leroy
man.
versus
That
Scott.
would have been an interesting matchup to watch that one-on-one. I would have legitimately enjoyed seeing who comes out on that.
It's about density too, I feel like. So wait, so if you're saying if Leroy's voted in there, and then Kyle is obviously going to be thrown in because Leroy would prefer to go against Kyle. And it's Hall Brawl. That's a pretty close one, honestly. Who would you bet on?
I would favor Leroy by a little bit, but the only time we've seen him in Hall Brawl, he got beat by Hunter.
Didn't
Hunter's
he
pretty
do it with
good,
Wes?
No, Hunter's like. Oh, and West. You're right. I forgot about that. No, he does roll over poor West. Oh, that was a while ago, but
Hunter's
yeah,
built
that's
like
a
a
good
pit
call. I
bull.
forgot about that. Yeah, that would be interesting to have seen the two of them go. I mean, he certainly has a better shot in that than it going against Fessy. Like, what? Man, that's a really hard decision if you're him. Like, do you make the play and just hope that they stick to their word, or do you give yourself the better matchup? Because you also don't know it's Hall Brawl.
Mm-hmm. Here's
See,
the other question, though.
That couldn't have turned out any worse for him.
No. Here's a question about Leroy. I can't remember him losing an elimination straight up. Like, he's gone home early for injuries, but he's always good in
But
elimination.
he lost to Baron Davon on the one on War of the Worlds.
He lost to Baron Davon in War of the Worlds. Who was his partner?
Yeah, they did the one where they had the bags that were on the sleds. He was partnered with Shailene, that girl from Big.
Oh, she was not good.
Oh my gosh,
She was really
Magic
bad.
Canada. She just was never on TV. Like, I remember it was crazy. She had like 2 confessionals through 5 episodes. It was insane. She was never on TV.
She was really, really bad. So, like, yeah, he has an elimination loss, but like, he didn't ever go in.
Oh,
on
free
Rivals.
agents, he loses to CT.
Oh, okay, that's right.
He loses to CT in free agents. The rest of the times he's lost, I think it's been with partners. Because, yeah, he loses with Naomi on X's. Rivals 2, he and Ty lose to Marlon and Jordan. That's another great Hall Brawl, by the way. That one that's definitely one of my favorite ones to go back and rewatch that one.
Who's his partner on that one again?
He's with Ty, and they're versing Marlon and Jordan. And it's the team Hall Brawl where there's 2 of them going at it at once.
Man, they can't pull that one off. I would have bet on them, wouldn't you?
Marlon's pretty freaking big, dude. Marlon played football in college. And
He's that big?
What's
Marlon
out. Marlon's huge.
Well, there's a
What's his last
reason
name?
also Ty did
Williams.
not get cast again after Rivals 2 is apparently he spent the whole Rivals 2 just sleeping, gave them no camera time, and everybody said he just showed up for the show money. Like, he did not care a thing about winning. So.
Yeah, he used to be decent TV, too. He really doesn't do much that season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he used to be, dude, on his real world season, he was just flames, too. I think that's one of the few real world seasons that I actually watched live while it was going on. I remember there was, in his real world season, he said that whenever he, first meets people, you know what I'm about to say? This is messed up. So he said whenever he first meets people, he would like try and figure out like kind of what sets them off or like something that really upsets them. Just like kind of like when they're like having a conversation, he would kind of just like figure out like what bothers them. And then he said he would make a mental checkpoint of it. And then he would like bring it up back on them at like later points when he like wanted to like really like rile them up.
That was good TV. It's definitely, if you're a producer, you're like, yes, we're casting that guy if that's what his
It's like, let's get this guy.
Yeah, exactly. You can bring him
I mean,
on.
I remember the first season he did Cutthroat. Like, he was a giant ass on that show. Like, he was in fights. He was picking fights with Brandon.
He was getting into fights with like Brandon all the time, and Brandon seemed like the nicest dude ever. Remember him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish Brandon would come back. I actually feel like that dude got a raw deal every season he was on. And he just could not get the right alliance.
That's another bad haul brawl, him versus Zach on Free Agents.
We're getting to the point in the Chronicles series where he's going to come on, right? He's on Fresh Meat 2.
He's on Fresh Meat 2. Yeah, he's Caitlin's partner. If he's partnered with Evelyn that season, they would have been a really good team. Yeah, we're kind of moving off topic now. What do we think about Fessy putting himself in? That was the other big pivot point this episode.
I mean, with the benefit of hindsight, like the perfect move, but
well, yeah, but we don't know he was going to get Hall, bro. He could have gotten something.
I think it's probably the right move. I think that's probably the right move. I think the upgrade from Casey or from Amber B to Casey is big enough, and I think he's got how many of the eliminations, Rob, this season are geared towards strength? Out of the ones that we've seen so far, he's probably favored in quite a few of them.
I would say there's only two that's not. There's the one that like Cam beat Ashley in, where they're like swinging around. That's the one that also like CT beat Josh in. That one's more agility based. And then there's the one that Leroy beat Jay in, which still is like obviously upper body strength is very involved in that, but you can't just be bigger than the dude. But then the other ones, you have like the Hall Brawl, you have the like revert tug of war that Corey beat Darrell and he outran him, but that's still definitely very weight based. You had the one that Casey beat Teresa in, which seemed like it was pretty much all weight. You have the one that Kyle beats Jay. Oh my gosh, I'm like Big T now. I can't remember the guys. Joseph Allen in, where they had to pull away the rings. They didn't bring that one back. You would have thought that one would have come back at some point. It was the second elimination they did.
I think what happened was he looked at all of the eliminations that they had done this season. So if I'm him, I'm thinking it's unlikely that they're going to spring a new elimination on us, right?
Definitely.
Low probability. So at that point, I'm looking at all of the eliminations there. There are some that I'm definitely going to beat Kyle in, and there are others that I still think I can beat Kyle in. Are there any eliminations that if you're Fessy, you think to yourself, I cannot beat Kyle?
Probably not. You'd still think he'd be able to pull out the I forget what they called it, where they swing around and do the puzzle afterwards.
Yeah, I would still probably take him.
Yeah.
Because even though he's bigger, he's still like more agile than Kyle too, from what we've seen.
Definitely better at puzzles than Kyle.
What do you think?
Oh, there's also the one where that Josh beat Michi in, where they had to throw the ball at the square.
He's beating Kyle in that.
I guess. I mean, we don't know what that really comes down to. Like the one that Josh beat Michi in, there was the puzzle, and then they had to pull the thing, and then they had to throw the ball at the targets. That's just a wonky one.
So do you think he made the right move?
I think he did.
For me, yeah, I think so.
I think he did for sure. And it really came down to who do you want to run a final with? If you're partnered with Amber B for the final after that pitiful performance we saw in the Daily Mission today, I don't want her as my partner in the final. So if she's your partner, you're going to lose. So you might as well take a swing and see what happens.
Do you think he still does it if Casey had won the mission and Cam would have been the one he would have been picking?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. I don't know, because Cam even said it at one point that all of or I can't remember who said it. Someone said it about Fessy, and I have to go back and look in my notes.
I know what you're talking about. Cam said it, where Fessy's like Fessy talks like the only woman who's any good is Casey, basically.
Exactly. And so maybe he doesn't. But I think from the perspective of Fessy, he really puts Casey above everyone else. So he may not, even though he probably should. Especially
I think
because-
I would rather run with Cam than Casey. So I definitely don't. That would improve my odds of doing it instead of taking them down.
for
It was
her,
funny too.
for her-
Amber, I think it was Amber B at one point was like, "Oh, Fessy thinks he's like the king of the challenge. And he's like the champion." So you guys have all picked him every single time he's been available to be picked. The guy gets traded around constantly. Of course, it's going to take his confidence through the roof in the comparison to the rest of these guys.
So for Cam's puzzle in like I don't even know what we want to call it, like math problem solving ability, like she's probably worth taking alone because she can kind of just make up for any deficiencies that he might have. What? Yeah, I don't know. It's the right move, definitively. All right. What haven't we gone over? Got over the mission.
They really
We
didn't
haven't
pump him up
gone
at all
over
when he
that,
did that.
the
Usually they make a
challenge.
big play of like the guy putting himself in.
Say that again, Rob.
What'd
I
you say,
didn't hear
Trace?
all of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Have Rob say what he said he is.
your hotspot connection is definitely coming in play here, Big T. Unfortunately,
I know. I think you
Rob,
guys
go
are
ahead.
hearing me talk about 5 seconds after I start. So we're trying. I'm trying to pause and jump in when I can. But you finish your point,
you're really
Rob, and then I'll
begging
jump
for
in.
these extra Patreon subscriptions, aren't you? Just so we can up this internet quality.
Well, it's
yeah,
my
did you
yard
think it was
guys did
notable
not
that they didn't
sniff
make a big play of Fessy putting himself in?
Go ahead, Rob.
Do you think it was notable they didn't make a big play of Fessy putting himself in?
That the editors didn't?
Yeah, like they dunked on him.
Yeah, they really did dunk on him. Like, I think, like, dude, like, if... So,
Yeah,
I said,
that team is not winning, by the way.
dude,
There's
if
no chance.
if I said that, I said it last week and I'll say it again. Like, if Fessy and Casey win, and I'm not necessarily, I think they won. I'm saying if they win, like, any talk of Edgic, like, literally has to be, like,
I feel
for
like
the
we just
challenge
need
has
to
to
put
be
that
take-
word
they
out past
they
it.
will take that, we're going to light that on fire, and then we're fucking throwing it out the door. Like,
There's no chance they win. But like we need to come up with the thing is with that, like that's just how like I start, like I was looking at the edit before I even watched Survivor at all. Or even knew what that was. Like that's just from talking to people in TV who tell me that's how they're gonna edit these shows.
they, like, because, dude, like, oh, something that we haven't talked about, the fucking letter, dude.
Yeah, how cringy was that? Like literally since Hello Earthlings last season, that's been about as cringy as the show's gotten.
Dude,
It
I
was
thought so.
bad.
If I'm one of the editors, I play up the letter reading even more though. Like, I really dunk on him. You know what I mean?
I thought they dunked on him pretty hard. I mean, there was
I
a
show
lot in this
people-
episode for them to show in comparison to
I
the
show
rest of the
people-
episodes that are now long.
I show people like rolling their eyes in the back of the head.
They did.
Like, really? Well, kinda. Like, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go back.
I mean, they had
I like-
confessions of Kyle saying the letter came, like, what is Fessy doing with this letter? And Leroy just saying the same thing. Like, they dunked on him pretty hard.
What did Leroy say about him again?
But Leroy was saying, like, you should just say that Amber B sucks and you want it to.
But that isn't necessarily a comment on Fessy, though, don't you think?
No,
I
the
don't know,
way
I
he
guess-
worded
I
it
guess
was.
it is.
And then Kyle was saying how he's a robot reading it. Like, they dunked on him pretty hard.
For Kyle, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Fessy might
Like,
be
because the
the
thing is, if that's like
unlikable person.
even when people have lost and they've done that, like when Jordan does that with Johnny on Free Agents, it's like the entire plot of the episode and it's taking it over. Like that's what everybody's talking about. Last season, when Nelson puts himself in for Corey, they make a huge like hero sacrifice. I think that's a little bit different because he's doing it for his friend instead of for himself.
I think kind of it was difficult for them to be able to carry the narrative of Kyle and Cam and Leroy and be able to like build up Fessy's decision at the same time to throw himself in.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
And I
definitely.
think the editors made the right decision to focus on what they did. Because if you think about it, they could have hid that completely, right? They could have just like not even acknowledged that was a thing. And they could have
No,
just,
they really didn't
like,
need to.
they could have just built up. I think that, so that's like when we talk about like, give us more of strategy and like political like machinations, that's exactly what we want to see. They could have played that like straight down the middle of the road, not shown us any of it. And this episode would have, like, if they don't show us that, what do you think of this episode? Like,
I
it's
think it's
okay.
still probably pretty. If they just focus
Yeah.
more on Fessy putting himself, I still think it's probably pretty good.
It's pretty good, but this is a great episode because we got all of that.
And
Like,
they honestly,
insight.
like, this was a great episode to have both those happen in it. It would have been better if we could have had one of them happen in a different episode that had like nothing happen, was only an hour long. Like, it would have been nice to kind of spread these out so we can really flesh out that narrative more. But yeah, I think they made the right decision to focus more on the Cam, Kyle, Leroy dynamic. That's just more interesting.
It's definitely more interesting. And I think the other thing that was good about it is we're finally seeing people like Leroy try to outsmart the game a little bit, because this was the first time that we have seen on screen, I think, it might have happened in the last few seasons because I've only watched those one time, but this was the first time we had people going, well, what if we blindsided this person and this person? Like, it felt like we were starting to see a different strategy.
Active. I mean, War of the Worlds 2, he was pretty active politically. Like, he was definitely very involved. I just think he needed to get out from Johnny's shadow. He's been so much better on these seasons when Johnny really hasn't been around.
Has he talked about that in any of the after shows?
He hasn't brought that up specifically, but what have been Leroy's best seasons? We've had
War
War 2.
Yeah, War of the Worlds 2 when Johnny's out early. We have X's 2 when Johnny's not in the game, but he'll lose. He beats Johnny Elimination, and then Johnny's like gone for a little bit, and then comes back. And then like, I guess Rivals 1's pretty good. Johnny's on that season, but they're not aligned at all. Leroy just somehow doesn't see an elimination being a rookie that season, just because how things play out.
Well, if they don't win that final mission in Rivals 1, they do see it.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I would say that this episode makes this season better than Total Madness. For me, I was kind of on the fence, just because Total Madness had some just like gangbusters in there for episodes.
Total Madness was definitely much more inconsistent than this season.
This final is going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely. One thing I did think was notable, they didn't make any real waves about how difficult the final was in the little preview like they gave, which makes me think it might be a little bit shorter than we're expecting. But it does look like it's going to be 2 episodes.
We think that?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty confident in that. I mean, because they said in that they were gonna, there's like a day 2 and the team's gonna be gone before day 2, and we know there's 2 episodes left, right? We don't think it's just gonna be 1 for the reunion.
I don't know. There was 1 last season for the reunion, wasn't there?
Yeah, I would be very, very surprised if the winner is crowned next episode. I definitely think we're getting 2.
They definitely did the Amber B like food eating. Like, when that happened, they were like, "This is perfect trailer material."
Oh my gosh, it was nasty.
She was like,
the trailer was nasty.
Oh yeah, that was.
So
we'll guys will find out next week. But like, what the heck was that about?
I bet you they're drinking like Viking blood.
Dude, so on Joe Rogan once, he was talking about how on Fear Factor for like eating challenges, he said what they would do a lot of the times is like a lot of like the stuff they would eat like inherently wouldn't smell as bad as you think it would. And what they would do is they would go to these fine cheese places and find the like smelliest, most disgusting cheeses that they could find and add them to whatever they were eating.
Ugh.
Oh,
so unnecessary.
That's brutal.
So let's start talking about the final, and we can come back to this episode if we think we forgot anything. I don't know. Any initial thoughts about this final?
I think Amber B and CT are winning. I'd give Cam and Corey the next best shot, then a decent gap, then Leroy and Nani, then a massive gap, and then Fessy and Casey.
Okay.
Say it again.
All right. I gotta ask, what leads you to believe CT and Amber are gonna win? Because that's actually a hot take I wasn't expecting.
Really? That's been like the train I've been on all the time.
I know, but like it just seems so unlikely.
I definitely think they're winning. I I just think that's mostly the edit from what on it more than anything. I think the teams are even enough for that's just what I'm going to go off of.
If I find out that that guy on Reddit like just went to like found a spoiler and put together this like edgic thing and just like put it up there to make it seem like he knew what was happening, like I might burn his house down.
Why are you so infringed by that? I'm sure people do that with Survivor and other shows all the time.
It's kind of rare that spoilers like that come out for Survivor.
Yeah, they
do
definitely.
good.
Look, we mentioned it many times. They do a much better job of keeping the lid shut than the challenge does. But like, whatever.
Why do you think they're able to do it at such a better level?
I think when people are only on once or twice, like they probably stick to their NDAs a lot closer. I think they're a lot more litigious. I think that the way that their production is set up, like, it seems like MTV probably. I don't know if they have as much of a lock on like their entire staff as CBS does. Evidently not. I think that's for a lot of it.
All right, so you said CT and Amber B. Who do you think's coming in after that?
Then Cam and Corey. I'd have those two teams relatively close.
And then Leroy and Nani. So you
Leroy
think
and Nani's a decent get? I guess I could see them winning. I'd have a hard time with it though.
All right, so I guess we pretty much have all the bets that we can have right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do we have it? Do we have a Cam versus Casey bet?
Yeah, we have that. We had that a couple of weeks ago.
Don't we have a Corey versus Fessy bet too?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look. So we have
the Corey Fessy bet only activated if they both make the finals. So I think we did.
This is perfect now because I was kind of worried that the partnerships would shake out where like all our bets would just cancel on the final because like if those partnerships were flipped, like what am I going to do?
Yeah, so we have Casey versus Cam, who will finish higher. Then we have Corey versus Fessy, who will finish better in the final. And then I think Trace and I...
Don't we have an Amber B bet too?
No, we don't.
What? We definitely have an Amber B bet.
No, look at it. I think I won it.
Are we going to be able to make one then?
Who do you want?
Amber B versus Casey.
Done. $5.
Oh, $5. Come on. We're doing at least 10. It needs to at least be double digits.
Rob, I'm not letting you catch back up here.
Yeah, he smoked Shoju in the beginning of the season.
I got screwed with the stupid Lolo and Dom situation that there was no chance I could even win those bets. I think those bets should all be void.
No, there was a chance that you there was a chance that you there was no chance that you could win, but there was a chance that you couldn't lose. Just like the same thing that happened to me with
yeah, but that's not. I think if the person's DQ'd at a certain point, it should all be void. We can either
no. They still made it to that. Pretty much like invalidates everything that they did prior to the game.
Ugh,
like
fine. I just shouldn't have made the last longer bets. I knew those were bad plays just based on how this season's structured. Because somebody can just put themselves in week 2 and just lose.
All right, so we have Amber B versus Casey in the final. Who will finish higher? I have Casey. You have Amber B. All right.
Yeah, I think the only bet that I'm in right now is in the All-Stars bet where I've taken the field versus the top 4 that you guys listed or something. I think that's the only bet I'm in right now.
We have 5.
So Rob has CT, Amber B, Corey Cam, Leroy Nani, Fessy, Casey. I would honestly probably pick, I don't know. I think this one's pretty even. So you think there's some huge like lopsided like teams here?
I don't think there's lopsided teams. I think mostly based on the edit. I think Amber B and CT are winning. I could even see, I guess, Nani and Leroy winning. Like I just have to stretch that one a little bit more.
So what changed your mind about the edit from the weeks prior, where you had thought that Cam would also be included in that group of people that would win?
No, I have Cam and Corey second. I'm sorry, I probably misphrased that. I would have them second, relatively close with Amber B and CT.
I know you do, but I mean, like you had thought that like Cam, based on the edit, was would be pretty likely to win too, right? So what from what we've seen this week, I guess.
I moved CT ahead of her last week, right?
I don't know. Yeah, so it may have been the last 2 weeks. So what over the last 2 weeks did you see in the show that made you
partially
feel more
it's
confident in that?
partially it's CT ending up being paired with Amber B, because I had a feeling from Amber B for a while. I just didn't know if she was just going to end up in the right partnership for it. And CT, I thought, had gotten a pretty strong edit from that. Cam's edits had also kind of cooled down after the first third of the season. She hadn't really been in the mid character role that she was for that first third. I still think she has a very good shot. I just hadn't been seeing it with Corey as much. Corey was hard because he was so removed from the action for most of this season. I mean, he was a rogue agent for like half the missions.
Trace, who do you think? How would you place these people?
It's tough because the only thing that I am sure of is that Fessy and Casey are winning. That's about the only thing I'm sure of, and it's not based on
winning?
the edit. No, I don't see Fessy and Casey winning.
You think they're winning or not winning?
Not winning. Not winning.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
I see zero chance of of them pulling off the W. I just don't think they're going to work well together because everything we've seen of Fessy leads me to believe that he is not going to stay calm under pressure. And I just don't see it working with him and a partner. So like, that's the only thing I'm certain of. The other three teams, I could be convinced that all of them could win. Specifically, I think I'm just going to go with my sentimental favorite at this point and say Leroy and Nany. I would love to see Leroy get the win going out now, especially with who's left. CT and Amber B, I would probably go Leroy, Nany, Cam, Corey, CT and Amber B, and Fessy and Casey, because I could see Fessy and Casey dropping for day 2. I just don't have faith in them to do it.
It's interesting because it's right before the final, and all the teams except one were completely reshuffled with their pairs.
Yeah. We haven't seen Amber B and CT work together at all.
I don't even know if we've seen a conversation between the two the entire season.
Yeah, they have. Well, they haven't had to interact at all, right? Like they've been so on different sides of everything going on.
So I think you're going to win the bet of. I think it's probably going to be them as partners throughout the whole time. We haven't gotten any indication that they're going to mix them up.
I think it would just also just be such a subversion of what's going on if they went individual now. Like, then Fessy putting himself in means nothing. Then like just so much of the partner dynamic. And I think that has been the one thing that's really, you would have to say, has worked well with this season is the partners and how they've switched around.
Yeah. Because we haven't. It seems like the cast is pretty confident too, and I don't know what clues they're picking up on. But in seasons past, we haven't got the conversation that we normally get of, I don't want to be paired with this person in the final. That's why I'm throwing them into elimination. Right?
We got that a little bit with Kyle and Anissa.
No. Like, I mean, like, I don't want to get stuck with them later on in the final. Right?
Like, we talk back and forth whether or not we want to interview somebody. That is one thing I do want to ask somebody, because that is just such moronic logic to me. We've discussed this before, so I don't know if we want to get into it again. But like, it is like, there's many things in life that don't bother anybody else at all that make me like need to just go crazy. But that is definitely one of the things from this show that's like, why is that such a thing? Like, you can't have the 3 people you're competing with. The 4 of you cannot all increase your odds for something. If only one of the 4 of you is winning, that means that like you can't have one person's odds go up and then the other 3 odds also go up. That they're working in conflict. They can't all agree on something. That's not how this works.
How do you even start talking about that? What were we just talking about?
We're talking about the partners and whether or not they're going to stay.
There's been no conversation about going solo by the cast at any point this season.
Yeah, because even like War of the Worlds 2, there's a conversation between Zach and Laurel where Zach talks about going individual at some point.
Yeah. I just don't think that they had faith that they were going to stay teams the whole time. They hadn't done that, and they hadn't had a legit team season in so long that I don't think anybody on that cast
I mean, they
bought
had
that they were
War of the
actually going to
Worlds
stay
too.
teams.
No, I don't know
That's
if I
what I
buy that. They had
mean.
War of the Worlds too, where they were teams the whole time. Final Reckoning,
That's
they were
what I'm
teams
talking
the whole
about.
time. Just for the War of
That's
the
what I'm
Worlds.
talking about is on War of the Worlds 2 when Zach and Laura were talking about it
Oh, I see what you're
eventually
saying.
going
Okay,
solo.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is like they had not had a team season since like Battle of the Seasons is the closest you get, but really Cutthroat is the last legit team season. So it had been a long time. So no one actually expected that to hold. This season, I still think there might be partner switches before the second day. I think that it is entirely within the realm of
No, that's not a
possibility that
that I guess could happen.
when they drop the team from day 2, I would not be shocked if there is a team switch halfway through the final.
That's actually a really good call. I didn't think about that. That could definitely happen because they said that there's going to be like 2 people eliminated, right?
They didn't
So
say a team would be eliminated. They said 2 people will be eliminated in the trailer. Now, I might be reading into it,
I don't know how they would
but
structure that at that point. Like, yeah,
I think
that
it's
would be really
entirely
weird.
possible. I think it'd be really easy. Like, do what they did last season, where 2 teams have to go into elimination, but it's not like a team elimination. It's like guy on guy, girl on girl, and then the winners are now partners. And if it's the same 2, then great, but it could be it flip flops. And then the other 2 people go home.
Yeah, they could
Like,
do
And
that.
and that would still fit. That would still fit within the general pattern that's happened this season. I feel like that would still be within the spirit of kind of what the game flow has been.
because you could have like whoever
Yeah, well, that's a
wins
good
the
call, Trace. I
first
hadn't thought about
checkpoint or
that.
something, they become the double agents again. They pick somebody to go in, and then the rest of them vote somebody else in, or maybe maybe last place goes in, and then the double agents pick the other team. Like I really think they're going to bring back that elimination halfway through, like they did on Total Madness. I totally think that's coming.
Well, they did it on War of the Worlds 1, too. And then, I mean, World of the Worlds 2 has the Purge halfway through. That's been pretty chalk for these past 2 finals now that they've done something like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do power rankings
And we've
for.
kind of rolled through it now, right?
I know. Let's just fly through it just so we can get some pen to paper.
Okay.
If I can find it in.
That is a good point
Hey.
he brings up. I guess I wish we'll have to put Amber B ahead of Cam, though, just with where things stand. But that is a really good point, Trace. I hadn't thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
All
While
right,
you're pulling up the
Rob,
Google sheet,
you're up.
hold on. Before you pull up we do the power rankings, we forgot to mention 2 really important things from this episode. Number 1, the challenge Rick rolled everybody watching tonight. We legitimately got Rick Astley Never Gonna Give You Up in the middle of this episode, which was just like, really? I'm surprised I didn't see this coming because it was all 80s music, but we got Rick rolled. And then the other thing is I loved how they did the final countdown when they announced the final. When that I was like, oh, they're totally about to hit it. And then it went da-da-da-da. I was like, yes, it's there. So once again, kudos. Whoever is doing the music for this show now needs a raise because that was great.
Well, it's not really them.
Loved
It's
it.
their budget, right? They've been able to buy these songs when before they were using awful, like, free YouTube music.
Yeah. What was it they did for a long time? Because I was watching what's the type of genre? It's like dubstep. Like for several seasons it was always dubstep, and that drove me
Not even
nuts because that
dubstep, though. It's
music
like
makes
lower
me
grade
like
than dubstep.
cringe. Say what?
There's some, like, real bad music and auto-tune on, like, some of these seasons. Basically from, like, Rivals up through Free Agents. There's some, like, real bad auto-tune. Like, embarrassingly bad.
All right, Rob, fire through these.
I guess I'll have Amber B 1. You'll go Amber B, Cam. 9.
Whoa, over Amber V 1? Oh, for the
I
women.
told you I
was
think
like,
her and
holy cow.
Well, I told you I think her and CT are gonna win. Like that's
Yeah,
what I
but
was
then
saying.
just like a couple moments ago, you said that you didn't take into account that she could be eliminated and CT could still win.
Yeah, I know. I hadn't thought about. I would still have her number 1 though. I think that's too much of a jump to not have the pairs together.
I know, and I thought what you were saying is that you wanted to have Amber B over CT. I thought you were doing your overall.
Oh no. I would say Amber B for the woman, Amber B, Cam, Nani, and then the men, CT, Corey, Leroy, and then overall I would go CT, Amber B, Cam.
Okay. So your only real change is that you put Amber B over Cam in your overall rankings.
Mhm.
Well, and in your rankings in general, and your for the women. So I will go next. I will go. I'll go CT. I will go Fessy. I will go Leroy. I will go. I mean, I guess I have to go Amber B too. Because I agree that I think, even though it's possible that they could do. I don't know. I guess that's not necessarily true. Fuck it. I'm going to go Fessy and Casey. One. No, I can't.
It's a trap.
Yeah, Fessy, they're
I
like
really
getting
want to-
DQ'd day one or something crazy. I think they're gonna have like some disaster happen.
I trust Casey more than I do
I don't know.
Fessy.
It's just that, like, yeah, the thing is, though, that, like, Amber B's just been so bad. Like, she hasn't really had a lot of good moments.
Well, we were talking about this the other week where I was saying she was so bad, and you were just like, she hadn't done a lot. This has been her worst performance, probably.
Yeah, but we've seen a lot since then. We talked about
Yeah.
that, what, like 3-4 weeks ago?
Yeah, but like, I just think if she's with CT, she doesn't have to do much besides just run. He can do the puzzles and like the in between stuff.
But we've seen that. Have we seen that she's able to do that, though? Didn't she really struggle in that mission with Fessy?
Which one? This one or a different
No,
one?
wasn't there a running one where she struggled?
There one where she was with Darrell. Her and Darrell didn't do great, but Darrell also like never tries in those missions.
This one's tough. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go Fessy Casey.
You're not going to up your bet with me? You're having the number one?
Man, he's just
Man, if
been
an all Big Brother team wins this season, I'm gonna be so pissed. Not because I'm just like one of those purists. I just don't like Fessy at all. Like there is nothing about him that I like.
It's funny, like people have really gotten into him this season. I think the show's really needed him this season.
Who, Fessy?
Yeah.
If he wasn't on this season, there would be literally nothing.
Yeah,
on this.
like they need. The thing is with these characters, this is what happened to Paulie. Kind of what happened to like even Frank going way back. The show needs these people around to like keep up the vibe. Like I know that's hard, but like I think the audience kind of chases these people away, and we keep getting blander and blander versions of these same characters.
That's the thing.
Paulie is.
Sorry, I'll jump in now. You have to have a villain. It's pro wrestling 101. You have to have a good guy and you have to have a bad guy and you got to have tension, and that makes people want to watch. It's the same thing with all of reality TV. You've got your heroes and you've got your villains. You've got your Batman, you got your Joker. Now, Fessy is no Joker.
But just TV in general.
Yeah, like you have to have a protagonist.
I think the show has really needed Fessy this season.
I cannot believe I'm going to say this out loud, but I wish I had Paulie instead of Fessy. I think Paulie grated on me because
I think it'd be
Cara
interesting to have them both.
If Paulie's there without Cara, I think I'm fine with Paulie as the villain. But with Cara there,
I'd be fine with them both
grating.
being back. I think people need to like. I don't know, dude. I think the show could really use both of them back. Like I think, especially in this type of format, like you wouldn't want to see Paulie playing this.
Oh, totally.
I would have.
I think
actually.
Paulie is much more entertaining than Fessy is.
But yeah, Paulie's like, but Fessy's bigger, obviously. But like as a character, Fessy's blander Paulie. That's basically how they're used in the show.
Has he been officially ruled out of next season?
They haven't. I mean, look, nobody's ruled out or in until they show up next to TJ. I'd be surprised if he shows up. Unfortunately.
I mean, just because.
So as of right now,
just because he failed a test doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to come back. It just means for that season.
We also don't know if he failed a test. We have no clue what happened.
It's alleged. We don't even know if that's what really happened. But he seems like watching the stuff I've seen him doing.
It's also alleged that there was a conspiracy by cast members to not go on if he's on. Like we have no clue what happened.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it could have been something.
He's under
Go ahead. Go ahead.
He's under the don't expect at this point. So right now, as far as next season stands, there is one new person on next season compared to this.
We just Devin. We like the. I think at this point that stuff means almost nothing. Like I would put.
What do you mean? It's a couple of days until they go into quarantine, isn't it? It's 2 days
but these things switch around all the time. Like I would.
It's not going to be. You think it's going to be a huge switch where like half these people aren't going to be on the cast?
Yes,
now?
I think that's what's going to happen.
No way, dude. No.
Isn't that what happened last season, Trace? Or am I out of my mind?
I don't remember that at all. Where half of them changed.
No,
well, we had no clue Teresa was going to be on. We had no clue Darrell was going to be on. We had Hunter was a lock. We had Ninja as a lock. Like we had, we had Jenny as a lock.
We didn't have Ninja as a lock.
Yes, she was.
About? No, she was crossed off like really early.
No. At the beginning, when they first posted the casting possibilities, Ninja was supposedly a lock. If I remember correctly, they had like 10 people on this cast that did not go, and like 6 of the people that we were told were locks did not even make alternates. They usually get about 2/3 of the cast right, but anyone with half a brain that watches the challenge, you can pretty much guarantee you can figure out who 2/3 of the cast is going to be before the season leaves. I don't know that, and this is me speculating. I don't want to get into a Vevmo flame war because obvious reasons. I don't know that Pink Rose's news that she gets before they leave is as accurate as what she finds out throughout the season from what I've heard.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's like with anything, dude. If we have 3 days between now and something and we have an event plan, there's going to be people who drop who thought they were going to go, and there's going to be people who didn't think they were going to go that end up going. That's how life works. And we have the quarantine that's happening. We have this COVID situation that's still going on.
This is a lot bigger of a situation though than you telling some friends that you want to go to the bar with them on Friday. You know what I mean? You actually have to plan your life around this.
I guess, but I think for a lot of these people, it's a little bit more split second than that.
Let's put it like this: I really fucking hope you're right, because right now this cast is absolutely terrible. It is absolutely atrocious for next season.
And keep in mind, too, Tori Hall was supposedly a lock for Total Madness, and apparently she was nowhere close to being
she was on the cast for multiple days.
They had her as a cast member confirmed on that list, and there was zero chance of that happening. Zero.
And the thing is, I don't think I really don't think we have any right to complain about this, because the challenge compared to other reality TV shows has overwhelmingly more accurate information. You know why? Because it has repeat cast members all the time compared to other shows. But I just think you can't take anything from it at this point. It's not worthy of diving into until the cast is actually at least quarantined and then left.
I don't know. I feel like generally these are I would want someone to go back and look at what her win rate is on this. I
just don't even think it's bad.
Maybe we're saying the same thing. So what percentage do you think she gets right?
I think.
What do you mean by getting right? What do you think of the people who are on right now? That's different than when she gets right. Right now,
I'm saying. So the day before they leave, right? So the day before they leave, compared to what is actually on the show, what percent do you think she gets?
I mean, I'd probably guess around 70-ish%, 75%.
We're saying the exact same thing then.
Devin, but you're talking about right now. Right now is different than then. Right now it's not
2 days from now. They quarantine on the 11th.
No, but once they get to the 10th, 11th, they're gonna have a different set of cast lists than they have right now. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
this is gonna change from now.
So you think the one in front of me right now is gonna be completely So what do you think the difference is between now and a couple days from now? You think it's 50%?
Somewhere in that ball, probably a little bit less.
I don't think we're saying I don't think we're that far off from what we're saying.
I just don't think it's worthy of even diving into now. Is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I think it is.
Until they are actually in quarantine, you have to take that list with a giant grain of salt. Now, I would wager that if we assume a 32-person cast like they've been doing, she's probably got 18 to 20 of those absolutely right. But they're also taking more alternates because of the COVID stuff. So anything can happen. Some of those people that are on that lock list could be alternates and there are cast members signed that she has no clue of signed. Like there's not other than Darrell, I think. There's no one from Challenge All Stars on there. Now, granted, I don't think too many of the Challenge All Stars got calls on
No, I
this.
think Anissa was on it, right?
Anissa is on it. She is. So Anissa and Darrell are the only two. But that doesn't mean that like a Latarian or somebody else that we don't even have on the radar, because Teresa was on zero people's radar until after they got to location. So
like there was like some
I'd say out of 32
they had like
people,
a few
she's
very
probably got
tiny
20.
breadcrumbs, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Devin, I really think it's not worth reading into now. Like, look, I could be wrong, and maybe this time it ends up being accurate. I don't have the data to back up in terms of how often it's accurate as of right now, but
So
I don't think it's worthy of making a judgment either way until they leave.
So I'm going to take a screenshot of this right now, and we're going to compare this to what it is in 2 days.
No, I would no. They're quarantining in 4 days. Really, you should not.
What's today?
Today's the 7th. Or it's 3 days by the time.
4 days.
airs.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I think that you should take the screenshot and then wait until the 18th and compare it to that list, because they will be in quarantine for 7 days before they fly out to location.
How long is their quarantine? It's probably 2 weeks, right?
No, it's 7 days.
Their quarantine is probably 2 weeks, right?
No, it's 7 days.
Oh, it's only 7? Okay.
It's only 7 days. CDC changed it, and that's what they did for All Stars was 7 days. I would wait till April 18th and look at the list then, and I bet you it will be different. Here's the other thing about that, though. Pink Rose back in the Rivals 2 era was extremely accurate before they left, because I think she just had better sources back then, because there was members of production that were on Vevmo, and I have a feeling that's who was feeding her information. I don't think there's that many people on Vevmo anymore that are as connected to the show as there used to be. So that's why I say, like, I could be very wrong. I don't know who her sources are, obviously.
I think we have no clue.
Yeah, but back during the Rivals 2 era, she was scarily accurate about who was on the cast.
I think that's a lot of speculation about stuff. Like I have no clue what's going on with any of with the vast majority of what's going on with this. I just think it's something where we just have to, because once Departure Day starts, they start the list over. There's a reason they do that. It's not starting from where they had it before. I just think doing stuff now, it'll give us some vague idea of who's in the realm of being casted, but I really don't think it's worthy of getting excited or getting upset about right now.
I don't know. I think that's why I would pay attention to it, because right now, if it's anywhere near what it is right now, it's abysmal. Have you seen what it is?
I've seen it. Yeah,
it's basically double agents with no changes except no Wes.
No Wes, no
Teresa.
Cam, no Leroy. Or Teresa.
So much worse is what you're telling me.
That's worse.
Let's put it this way.
All right.
CT's appearance fee for this season is high.
Well, he's got to be the only one of him, Johnny, and Wes that's on it, right? There's no way Johnny.
Yeah, Wes already said he's not doing this season. And Bananas is very unlikely from what I've heard. I've got a source. There's almost zero chance Bananas is on this season.
Do we think that the Wes, is he trying to do a reverse of the Ruins where he thinks he gets schemed against now because, everybody, builds up, the propaganda against Wes, so he's going to try to, sneak in? It's like an alternate or something?
Wes's best shot.
Maybe he's all long con.
No, I think Wes's best shot is to go in with a pre-planned alliance like he had with Bananas. If Wes is there, they're going to try to get rid of him, so he's got to get the numbers on his side quick. Say what?
I think he needs at least one super solid connection. I think he needs Hunter back. If he has Hunter back, because Hunter's the perfect ally for him. Because Hunter will win eliminations, he'll win missions. Wes can beat him in the final, and Hunter knows he's not good politically, but he has a decent amount of connections on the show. So he'll just be look, Wes, what's the strategy? Or all right, we'll do that. And it's a very mutually beneficial partnership. So I think that's what he needs more than Johnny.
So
yeah, I feel like Wes's best case scenario, before I give my power rings, I don't think I've done mine yet. Wes's best case scenario for a season is he gets a combination of Hunter, Paulie, and Nehemiah.
Yeah, he could.
Like, that's
he would
his
be able to
best
run with that
situation.
crew. Well, I think he's doing better in a partner season than individuals too. But.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do for my power rankings. I'm going to go Corey. For the men, I'm going to go Corey, Fessy, CT.
Corey won. You've said all along you have no faith in Corey.
For the women, I'm going to go Kim, Casey, Amber, B. Overall, I'm going to go Kim, Casey, Fessy.
You've had you have Fessy number 3, but you had Corey ahead of him for the men.
Say it one more time.
You had Corey ahead of Fessy for the men, but you're having Fessy ahead of Corey in the overall.
Yeah,
that makes no sense. How is it? What do you mean?
I just still feel more confident. So, like, if they mix them up, I still feel more confident that he would finish above.
I guess we just kind of have to divide them at this point, then, in terms of a pairs versus an individuals. Right?
For the overall, I think you have to. For the men versus women, I have them the same, but for the overall, I have them mixed.
For my statistician's mind, that somewhat upsets me, but I get what you're saying. So no Leroy at all. Leroy's off the list.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it. Unfortunately, I felt much better about him. I felt much better about him with Casey than I do Nani.
Yeah, we really haven't gotten much from Nani this season or last year. I guess last year she had a few fights, but she's been quiet.
I think Nani just grew up,
right,
man.
Trace.
That's what happens.
I mean, last season she was throwing noodles at Anissa.
I don't disagree with you, but for this season, she just seems to have her crap together. Like, just really seems to be.
I think it's
grounded, I guess.
I think this season she's just been so in the driver's seat politically. Like, she's had no whispers of her going in when she didn't want to go in at all. So I think that's been more what it is.
Well, her being connected to Leroy and Cam really helps that.
I mean, again, we saw it again this episode. They've really just had absolute full charge of what's going on here. Cam had the one episode where she got put in by Teresa and Jay, but that's really been it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, guess what I'm trying to do with putting Fessy ahead of Corey is just trying to hedge a little bit there.
But you get how that makes no sense, right?
I get what you're saying, but I'm trying to hedge, right? Like in case that they do split them up. Because I don't feel
Devin the coward showing up all of a sudden, just hedging constantly with these rankings.
Oh, dude, I'm all about hedging, dude. Like, hedging is the smart thing to do.
In most situations.
Trace, you're up.
All right. For the people on the Discord server that say I have hot takes all the time, this is probably the hottest of hottest takes I will have. I'm going to go CT
There's no chance
Leroy.
That's the case.
I'm going to go CT, Leroy, and then Corey. And for the women, I'm actually going to go Nani, Cam, and Amber B. And then overall, CT, Nani, and Cam. I think I'm going to speculate that I think there's going to be a partner switch. And I see it being CT and Amber versus Leroy and Nani. Nani is going to beat Amber, and CT is going to beat Leroy, and CT and Nani are going to finish the final together. That is not anything based on evidence.
If this ends up happening, that's so out of
it's out of left field. Like, it's a hot take.
How are they getting put in?
I don't know.
I don't even know if you can call it a hot take. This is
it's a wild ass supposition, really. I mean, there is zero evidence for any of this I'm speculating on at all. Like, zero. I'm just maybe going with my hopes and dreams. How about that?
You'd rather see not even with CT than with Leroy?
I mean, in the feel-good ending would be Leroy and Cam or Leroy and Nani winning. I mean, that's really the feel-good storybook ending for this season. I mean, if you really want to give Leroy, if they want a storybook send-off, Leroy winning with Nani or Cam, really Nani, because Nani and him have been rolling together since the Las Vegas Real World, and they were good friends the whole way through, never fought, looked out for each other every season they were on the challenge. The two of them winning would be like the Derek getting his first win on the Inferno 3 kind of thing. It just really would be like that. You feel good for them winning. But very rarely does that ever happen on the challenge, like ever. Most of the time, it's who played the game the smartest. There's very rarely a super surprise, feel good winner.
I'm gonna change my overall to Cam, Corey, Casey.
Okay.
Like just thinking about it more, like I don't think it's likely enough that they're gonna do the switch. I think it's probably at this point. I think it's less likely than you guys actually probably think it. I think they're gonna play this straight away. It just seems that like since they reinstated the previous producers, they haven't done any huge major twists.
Well,
right?
I mean, War of the Worlds 1, this would basically be what that was, right? Like, that would be kind of what...
They did that early on in the game, though. They did that, like a little bit after halfway through?
I mean, they were like 2/3 into the season. It was most of the way in. But I think we're still
like
with them doing it now, so the first day's times just not count? Trey, so the way you're envisioning it, so did the first day's times just not count at all?
No, I think they're going to do it like they did Total Madness, where they're just going to do the checkpoints, and then whoever is ahead at the checkpoints will be the double agents, and then the bottom and then somebody else picked by the double agents are going in for an elimination, and then the partners could switch.
Why do they continue to do this?
Because they like to have twists.
Like we just need.
But like that's not a twist with them. The checkpoints and then the timed like that, the checkpoints and then they get a 2-minute head start and the first one who finishes that leg is the winner. They've done that the past 2 seasons now, and it is one of like the most backwards production things they've done. Like
I don't disagree with you, but they've done that so many times though. Like they did it on Rivals 1. They did it on Free Agents. They did it on Rivals 2 where they eliminated
Free Agents was timed. Free Agency did times. That wasn't that way.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I mean, Rivals, it happened, and they gave them a head start. Battle of the Seasons, they did that too. Right? Battle of the X's, Battle of the
Seasons, I believe they did that. I think they did it on X's and
X's 2.
X's 2. Rivals 2, they didn't even do that because first day and everybody starts at the same time the second day. The first is really just a purge.
Yeah, they just
want to try and force parity, right?
Yeah,
like that's what
it boils down to.
Timed final. More than these finals.
How can you do that with a timed final where someone starts and ends? That's the thing. So I would still rather watch that though. Like I think it's honestly the best version of this is just start the final, have them to go. Whoever ends up first wins, right? Or you could just do different. Well, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you could do different days, right? And like then do everyone starts on the other days, and you don't know how much time someone wins by on each day. And then
we don't have any idea how much Turbo beat Wes and Theo on War of the Worlds 1.
That's probably the best version.
Yeah, that has to look. I get that people like that like image of the person just finishing and winning, but I think you're trading like 5 seconds of screen glorification for the entire like sanctity of the season. I think that is an unrealistic thing to bargain with.
What?
To say like we need to set it up that way, but then set it up where the first person who crosses the finish line is the winner, and then not do the timed format. That's like 5 seconds of glorification for trading out the entire sanctity of who wins the season.
What do you mean the entire sanctity?
I don't understand. I don't track that.
Well, in terms of it's a much more just determiner of who wins the season if it's just timed events and they're not just doing a 2-minute checkpoint.
Wait, what are you talking about? A 2-minute checkpoint? What are you talking about?
So on what do we think is a better way to determine who wins? War of the Worlds 1, where they do the timed checkpoints, or War of the Worlds 2, where the UK team dusts the US team the first day and then they get a 2-minute head start and what looks like a 20-minute finale?
Oh. Definitely the first way, but I don't think either of us are advocating for the second way.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is the argument you'll hear for the second day is like, oh, I want the first person who crosses the finish line to win. I don't think that's a reasonable thing to trade off.
So I think you're I don't think you necessarily have to have the person get a 2-minute head start on the second day, and you don't have to force parity in that situation. You can just have it start and end.
They won't do that, though.
I wish they would go back.
Then you can't put the audience in suspense at all. And I mean, you could try to with weird editing tricks, but like that, then it's much harder to do that.
I think you still can. So I think the timed way is the best way, right? Like War of the Worlds 1. I think the second best way is have the person that finishes first wins and not do the 2-minute head start or whatever head start that they give. And then the way that they've been doing it is by far the worst.
By far the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I wish they would take kind of what they did on Rivals 1 and mash it up with Fresh Meat 2. Like, who says that they have to do a 2-day or a 3-day final? Like, start at dawn and design the final to cover the amount of daylight you have. Like, just have a straight through final. And maybe there's a rest point here or there. They can stop and eat, whatever, and then move on. But, like, make it so it's linear. That way it's a true test of start to finish. Like, I really like that format, and I really like that idea of whoever crosses the finish line first wins, because like Johnny Riley crosses the last checkpoint finish line first, but he still lost. Like, it just doesn't resonate with me as a viewer to have the person who crosses the finish line first lose. Like, it just seems backwards to me.
I just think that's such a small thing when you're comparing that to who wins overall in the season.
All right, let's do the listener email that we have and then get the fuck out of here. This is from Beck. He says, after listening to the Duel 2 Part 1, which for everyone listening, you can get on Patreon right now if you subscribe. After listening to the Duel 2 Part 1 podcast and your guys' debate on the quality of the intro, I figured I'd give my 2 cents. First off, I love it. No, it doesn't hit the 3 checkpoints, but it's at the point where it's unprofessional, and it's so unprofessional and over the top that it's kind of that I find it amazing. To bring in opposite perspective, my dad is actually from New Zealand, and so was obviously raised in the country's culture and was taught the haka as part of school growing up. Anyway, he's horrified by this intro and finds it offensive and embarrassing. Honestly, very fair criticism on his part, but it's just a reality TV show having some fun and being goofy. So besides the whole not very politically correct cultural appropriation thing, I take the side that is the peak of the challenge intros. Sorry, Dad. Laugh out loud. Phenomenal email back.
I was always really interested with that. How do they view it in New Zealand? Apparently not favorably. That does change my view of it a little bit, that like I can see where it's like a cultural thing. The way they approach it is not with the most reverence at all. And that is interesting to hear that from the New Zealanders' perspective. You think it was like he just showed his dad, like, hey, Dad, look, they're doing the haka. And he was like, oh, my God, what are you doing here?
And then you see Big Easy,
When they
and you're
did
just
the
like,
intro,
why?
did they think it was good?
What?
I think when they did the intro, like the producers, whoever came up with it, did they think it was good? You think? Like, did they think they were like, this is going to be cool? What did they think when they were doing it?
Yeah, I think that's probably what they envisioned. They probably were like, they're going to look really tough. You know what I mean? Like, this is like going to look really intimidating. I've seen this like before. Like I know what this is outside of the challenge. I don't think like there's anything like tough or intimidating about this. You know what I mean? It's just like a bunch of like screaming and I don't know.
No, it's the way they do it. It's crazy. Like I think, but it's not even like tough or intimidating. Like, do they think do they think this is going to look like the Cutthroat intro where they're like coming out of the like cars like dressed like security agents? Is that what they thought this was going to look like? Like the Taka version of that?
I don't know.
Man, it's not good.
Good email.
Yeah, I don't even normally on listener emails, I feel like we have a lot to say about this. This is probably one of the best listener emails we've gotten, and I feel like it speaks for itself. I don't feel like we even have anything to say.
No, I definitely shout out to Beck for throwing that in there. I was really interested to see how New Zealand thought of that. I can definitely see where that's unfortunately the reality.
Yeah. One other thing before we sign off, Rob, do you have the contest winner of the free shirt?
Yes, I do. Let me pull that.
Let's announce that.
So this is for everyone that responded. Yeah, this is for the survey that we did about a month ago at this point, and as all we can tell, we're really on top of this. So Rob's going to announce.
We got around to it. Where?
You told me you had it, so that's why.
And I guess I should say.
No, I have it. It's right here. Big T.
Why'd you give her email, Rob?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut
What?
that shit out now. Like, I'm gonna have to put a big beep. You don't give somebody's email out on a public podcast. Just give out like a name, a first name.
I guess
or
that's
something.
fair. I mean, they did ask us to do it publicly.
They what?
Well, we did ask for it publicly.
No, we didn't.
Right,
we
but we
asked
don't
for
have to
email, but that
share
doesn't mean,
it.
like every.
That's what I said in the Word document.
I don't know.
Never
But they
mind. We'll
can't
cut
see
all
the
this out. That's a
results.
good
They
call
can't
with
see
you guys.
everybody that filled out the survey's email.
Just
Oh,
add
that's
a
good-
bleep over
That's a
it.
good call.
I'm just gonna drop the audio for that one brief. Can you? I'm gonna leave this whole conversation in, but bleep out the email. So, Rob, can you say
that's
kind
good
of a
call.
name so that we can announce a winner?
Just leave everything
No.
but at the Gmail out, Rob.
Well, no, don't even do that. How about this?
I mean,
I'll do
yeah,
it.
but we're on Gmail though. Then they would know what the
Oh
email
yeah,
is
then they know
anyways.
it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Rosie.
say it.
Rosie,
Congratulations
that's what it was.
to our friend Rosie.
But the
We're
thing
just
is, we
gonna go
had
with
two
Rosie.
people with like the same. Never mind. We'll just move on. Never mind.
We're going
All
with
right.
Rosie. Rosie, you're the
So-
winner. We'll get it. You'll get an email from us as soon as possible, and you can tell me your shirt size and which shirt you want, and we'll get it out to you.
Dude, I thought, Rob, you weren't in the Discord when this was going on, but I think it was Greg. He talked about how he wore his Big Dub Diesel shirt to a Challenge Mania
Oh, cool.
Zoom.
video show, whatever they do. And he said that even Scott didn't get the reference. Someone who's like a
I mean,
big
it's pretty
wrestling
niche
fan.
reference. Like that's not super public.
I thought that was pretty funny though.
It cracks me up because
All right.
after hearing
So
the
thank you for
origin
listening.
of the Big Dub Diesel, it's great. Like, I'll say this before you sign off, Devin. Like, if you don't know what Big Dub Diesel is, apparently that was the Miz's AOL screen name back in the day. And it was also like his bodybuilding.com message board name because you can see him asking for nutrition chips to bulk up when he was trying to get into pro wrestling in the early 2000s. It's actually kind of funny. And then he had the shirt, which if you're a fan of this show, you know the inside reference. But it was really funny that he was just wearing his AOL screen name basically on television.
Yeah, when it was in
Inferno
the first
1.
battle of the seasons, that was, and the Inferno one apparently, he wore a shirt that just said Big Dub Diesel on it. All right, cool. So if you'd like to send us any listener emails, you can reach us at thechallengechronicles@gmail.com, and we'll read them as they come in. If you'd leave us a rating review on iTunes, we would really appreciate it. And if you would like to go and join our Patreon, which is $4 for the entry tier, and that'll get you access to All-Stars recaps, which we'll add tomorrow night, and a lot of other cool stuff. You can go to thechallengechronicles.com, and that will redirect you to our Patreon page, and we'll probably leave a link to it in the show notes right here. And thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again soon.